The galaxy was burning. For almost 7 years, the Dravari Empire had fought against the young human race. What began as a border conflict had turned into a war that consumed whole worlds. The Dravari were an old and proud species, tall, scaled, and known for their cruelty and war.
They had conquered more than 100 civilizations before humanity rose from their small blue planet called Earth. When humans first reached the stars,
the Dravari saw them as nothing but another weak species to crush. They attacked the outer colonies, destroyed human ships, and enslaved the survivors. But humanity did not fall. They resisted. Even when they lost battles, they came back stronger. Even when whole fleets burned, they rebuilt. Still, after years of fighting, the truth was clear. Humanity was losing. The Dravari fleets outnumbered them 100 to 1. Their weapons could split moons and melt continents. The human colonies on the edges of known space were gone, turned into silent dust. The United Earth Command was broken, its admirals tired, its soldiers scattered across hundreds of dying worlds. Now, the last battle had come. The last stand far above Earth in orbit, thousands of lights shone. They were not stars. They were ships. The Dravari Armada had arrived, stretching across the void like a wall of metal and flame. Every screen on Earth showed the same image. Enormous alien ships, glowing red from the heat of their weapons, blocking out the sky. In a quiet command room buried deep under the mountains, Admiral Rena Sol stood before a large window. She was tall, calm, and known for her courage. Her dark uniform was worn, and her eyes showed the weight of too many lost battles. Around her, officers whispered updates, their voices shaking. "Admiral," one officer said, "the Dravari demand surrender. They say if we do not respond, they will destroy the planet." Rena looked at the holographic display of Earth. Clouds moved slowly over oceans and mountains. Billions of lives waited below, unaware of how close the end was. She spoke softly. "We have no fleet left to fight." Another officer clenched his fists. "Then we'll fight with what we have." Rena almost smiled. Humanity's strength had never been its numbers or its technology. It was their spirit. But even spirit could only go so far. "They will not stop," she said. "They want us erased. We are not fighting for victory now. We are fighting to show them that humans do not bow." The enemy above on the Dravari flagship Vraxian, Commander Threx Volan, watched the blue planet with a cold grin. The Dravari were a reptilian race, taller than humans with black eyes and silver scales that shone under their ship's lights. Threx wore armor carved from the bones of his enemies. "Prepare the main cannon," he ordered. "Let them see the power of the Empire." His second-in-command hesitated. "Sir, the humans are transmitting no signal." "Not even a surrender code?" Threx laughed, a dry, rattling sound. "Of course not. They are too proud. But pride will not save them from fire." The Dravari fleet moved into attack position. The Vraxian's weapon systems glowed red as energy charged within its core. Soon, Earth would be nothing more than ashes. The silence before the storm back on Earth, every communication channel went quiet. The people waited. Some prayed. Some cried. Some simply watched the night sky, knowing their world's final moment was coming. Then, without warning, all radar systems detected something strange. A small signal. A single ship. At first, everyone thought it was an error. The data made no sense. It was moving too fast to be a normal vessel, almost like it was appearing and disappearing in bursts of light. The officers inside Earth Command looked at one another in confusion. "Admiral," said the radar chief, "we have something. One contact entering from the far side of Luna orbit." Rena frowned. "A contact? Whose ship?" "Unknown, ma'am, but it's broadcasting a human ID code." The room fell silent. A single human ship? Out there? That was impossible. The last human battle fleet had been destroyed 2 months ago near Epsilon Gate. No human ship should still be active in deep space. "Put it on the screen," Rena said. The display flickered. Then the image appeared, a small dark ship moving calmly through the void. It was shaped like no human design she'd ever seen. Its surface shimmered with patterns that looked alive, like waves of light crawling across its hull. "What is that?" someone whispered. No one knew. The ghost returns. As the mysterious human vessel approached the Dravari Armada, the alien sensors went wild. Their computers could not measure its energy. Every reading came back as error. Threxvolan leaned forward on the Vraxian's command deck. Identify that ship. His crew worked quickly, but the data refused to match anything in their archives. Then one of them gasped, "Sir, it carries human codes from the Aegis Initiative." Threx froze. The Aegis Initiative was an old human project from decades ago, a secret experiment in advanced quantum travel. The Drivari had destroyed it long before the war began. At least that was what they believed. "That can't be true," Threx hissed. "The Aegis was lost." And yet, the ship was there. It moved slowly, almost peacefully, as if it didn't care about the fleet surrounding it. Hope rekindled in the Earth Command Center. Reyna Sol stared at the screens. Zoom in. The image grew larger, showing the ship's markings. And then she saw it, faded but clear, the old emblem of the United Earth Aegis program. Her heart stopped for a moment. "That project was shut down before I was born," she whispered. "It was supposed to create a ship that could travel faster than light without using a drive. It was impossible, but the impossible was here." The officers around her began to murmur. For the first time in years, the air filled with something no one had felt in a long time. "Hope." "Maybe," one of them said softly. "We're not finished yet." The moment before impact high above, the Drivari fleet adjusted its formation. The commander of the Second Fleet, General Vakran, opened a channel to Threx. "Should we destroy it?" Threx's eyes narrowed. "Yes, crush it before it gets closer." Thousands of weapons charged. Light gathered in the void, painting the stars red. The lone human ship floated between them like a fragile seed surrounded by fire. Inside Earth Command, alarms rang. "They're targeting it!" a technician shouted. "Can we contact the ship?" Rena demanded. "No response, ma'am. It's not answering any frequency. Keep trying," she ordered. Her gaze returned to the screen. The alien fleet was ready to fire. The mysterious ship still did not move. Seconds stretched into eternity. Something awakens. Then, at the very last moment, the strange ship's hull began to glow faintly gold. Its light spread softly, not bright but calm, like dawn breaking after a long night. Rena felt a chill. "What is it doing?" No one could answer. The scanners could not explain the readings. The energy coming from that single vessel was larger than the total power output of Earth's entire defense grid. Threx snarled. "Fire!" The Drivari fleet unleashed a storm of plasma and antimatter shells. The space between stars turned white with fire. For a brief instant, Earth disappeared behind the brightness, and then everything stopped. When the light faded, the human ship was still there, untouched. Every Drivari projectile had vanished before reaching it. The battlefield was silent. Even the alien systems began to fail, their weapons shutting down one by one. On Earth, people watching through live feeds could only whisper. No one understood what had just happened. Rena Sol leaned forward, her voice trembling. "That ship, it protected us." The gold light continued to grow, spreading outward in quiet waves. It didn't attack. It didn't destroy. It simply stood there between Earth and the alien armada, like a guardian returned from myth. Somewhere inside that strange vessel, a single human heartbeat echoed through the silence of space. The Drivari fleet hesitated. The humans held their breath. And in that endless moment, everyone, friend and foe alike, realized one thing. This war was about to change forever. For a long moment, the galaxy stood still. The alien armada filled the dark sky above Earth, silent and uncertain. Their mighty weapons had failed to harm the strange human ship that now hovered between them and the planet. The humans on Earth watched the golden light from their guardian shimmer across the heavens, unsure if they were witnessing a miracle or the beginning of something far greater. Inside the Earth Command Center, Admiral Rena Sol stood frozen before the main screen. Around her, officers whispered in disbelief, their eyes wide. The unknown ship still glowed softly like a calm sun in the cold of space. "What is that thing?" one of them asked. Rena didn't answer. She was too busy studying the strange patterns moving across the ship's surface. They weren't random. They almost looked like symbols, ancient and alive, shifting in rhythm with the pulse of the ship's energy. "It's responding to something," she murmured. "Maybe no to them." The Drivari in confusion on the flagship Vraxion, Commander Threxvolan gripped the control rail, his scaled hands trembling slightly. The Drivari were not used to fear. For centuries they had conquered world after world without challenge. But this This was something new. He turned sharply toward his tactical officer. Why did our weapons fail? The officer looked at his screens helplessly. I don't know, Commander. Every system reports direct hits, but the data... It says the projectiles never existed. Threx's eyes darkened. Never existed? Explain. I can't, the officer said quietly. It's as if time itself refused to let them strike. Threx hissed in anger, his tail striking the floor. No ship can do this. It must be a trick. He activated the fleet-wide comm channel. His voice echoed through every Dravari vessel. This is Commander Threx Volan of the Dravari Empire. The humans have unleashed a weapon of illusion. Do not be afraid. Prepare for a second strike. But even as he spoke, the strange golden light grew brighter. It wasn't blinding, it was beautiful. It touched the Dravari ships like a gentle wind. Their power cores dimmed, their engines faltered, and one by one their weapons went dark. What's happening now? Threx demanded. Unknown interference, sir. It's disabling everything. The commander looked out at the lone human ship. It still hadn't fired a single shot. It was only watching. The voice. Then for the first time, the ship spoke. A soft, calm voice echoed across every frequency in the system. It didn't shout. It didn't threaten. It simply spoke in perfect Dravari, perfect human, and every other known galactic tongue. This war is over. The words carried no emotion, yet they silenced all fear. Both fleets, human and Dravari, paused as if the universe itself was listening. You came to destroy. You came to enslave. But you have already lost because you forgot what it means to live. In the Earth Command Center, people stared in awe. The voice was clearly human, yet strange, calm, powerful, and echoing with something beyond mortal tone. Who is that? An officer whispered. Rena's heart pounded. It sounds like a human, but no one could be transmitting from that far without a delay. The voice continued, reaching even the people on the surface of Earth. We do not seek war, but if you force it upon us, we will protect our home. Stand down. Leave this world and never return. The Dravari reaction Threx slammed his claws on the control panel. How dare they threaten us? His fleet was trembling. Many captains refused to engage again. The fear was spreading faster than his orders. Send every remaining ship, he shouted. Overload the weapons. If it is a trick, we will burn the illusion away. But even as he spoke, the voice returned. You have been warned. The golden light around the human ship shifted, no longer soft but fierce and bright. The surrounding darkness rippled as if space itself was bending around it. Threx's ship sensors screamed in alarm. Sir, the field around it, it's rewriting gravity. Our drives are destabilizing. Reverse course, he roared, but it was too late. A wave of silent energy swept outward from the human ship. It was not heat, not explosion, just a quiet pulse. Wherever it passed, Dravari ships simply stopped moving. Power vanished, engines froze, and lights went dark. Thousands of warships hung lifeless in orbit, trapped in stillness. Rena Sol and her officers watched from Earth Command in disbelief. They didn't even attack, said one of the technicians. They just shut everything off. Rena's hands shook slightly. No known human technology can do that. Whoever built that ship isn't following our science. Inside the ship far away, deep within the strange vessel, a single figure stood before a glowing console. A human, tall, calm, wearing a silver uniform marked with the same Aegis emblem seen on the hull. His name was Captain Auric Vale, once the lead pilot of the Aegis initiative, lost 20 years ago during a secret test of the first quantum ship. Everyone had believed him dead, but the truth was far stranger. When the experiment began, the Aegis One had been pulled into a space outside time. Auric had seen worlds beyond human understanding, rivers of light, stars being born, civilizations long gone. He had learned things no human mind was meant to know. When he finally returned, he no longer aged. His ship had become something alive, bound to his will. Now, after 2 decades, he had come home. Auric looked through the viewing screen at the silent enemy armada. His voice was calm but heavy with sadness. They still don't understand, he whispered. All this death for nothing. The ship responded in a soft hum as if alive. What will you do, Captain? Auric closed his eyes. End it. The fall of the armada in space, the Dravari commanders screamed for control, but their ships would not respond. Energy fields flickered and vanished. Missiles turned to dust. Even their communication systems began to fail. One by one, massive battleships started to drift out of formation, powerless and silent. It was as if an invisible hand had removed the spark of life from their machines. Aboard the Vraxian, Threx could only watch in despair. "Who are they?" he whispered. "What have humans become?" For the first time, the mighty commander felt small. The human ship moved slightly forward, its gold light spreading until it covered the entire sky above Earth. Then the voice returned once more. "You came here seeking victory. But war is not strength. Strength is knowing when to stop." The Druvari listened, powerless to reply. "Take your ships and leave this world. If you ever return, there will be nothing left to save." And then, just as quietly as it had come, the golden light faded. One by one, the Druvari ships regained power. Their systems restarted, but their weapons were dead. No one dared to fire. Threx bowed his head. "Order the retreat," he said in a low voice. "We cannot fight this." Within minutes, the armada began to turn away, engines igniting weakly as they left orbit. Across the galaxy, every broadcast repeated the same image. The once great Druvari fleet running from a single human ship. The world watches on Earth. People cheered and cried. After years of hopeless war, they were alive. The mysterious ship had saved them. Rena Sol stood in silence, staring at the screen as the last alien ship vanished into the darkness. "Send a signal to that vessel," she ordered quietly. "Tell them, thank you." Her communications officer worked quickly. "No response, ma'am. The signal isn't reaching them." The ship didn't move. It simply floated there, glowing faintly in the upper orbit like a watchful guardian. Then, for a brief moment, a single message appeared on every human communication network. Text only. No voice. "You are safe. Rebuild what was lost. Remember who you are." And then the message faded. Moments later, the ship vanished in a burst of light. No explosion, no sound, just gone, as if it had never been there at all. The legend begins in the days that followed. The galaxy spoke of only one thing: the ship that ended the war. No one knew where it came from or how it did what it did. Some believed it was a weapon built by forgotten human scientists. Others said it was an angel of light, sent by the universe itself. The Druvari called it the Judgment of Soul, but for humanity, it became a legend, a reminder that even in the darkest hour, one person, one act, could change everything. Admiral Rena Sol often looked at the stars at night, wondering who the pilot had been. Deep down, she felt a quiet truth: whoever they were, they had once been human. And perhaps somewhere out there in the endless stars, they still were. The war was over. The stars were silent again, and humanity, against all odds, had survived. The war had ended, but peace did not come easily. Across the galaxy, millions of people, human and alien alike, spoke of what had happened. The story spread faster than light. Every corner of known space whispered the same words. A single human ship entered orbit, and the war ended hours later. The event became a legend overnight. No one had ever seen power like that before. The mighty Druvari Empire, feared for centuries, had fled in terror, and all because of one mysterious vessel that no one could explain. On Earth, celebrations filled the cities. The night sky sparkled with fireworks and joy. Families reunited. Children who had grown up under the shadow of war saw peace for the first time in their lives. Yet even in victory, there was uncertainty. The ship had vanished as suddenly as it appeared, leaving behind only questions and one final message. You are safe. Rebuild what was lost. Remember who you are. Admiral Rena Sol searched deep beneath the mountains of Earth Command. Admiral Rena Sol stood before a large holographic map of the solar system. Her officers were busy tracking signals, searching for any trace of the mysterious vessel that had saved them. Still nothing? She asked quietly. The lead technician shook his head. No energy readings, no warp trails, no radiation marks. It's like the ship never existed, Rena sighed. Ships don't just disappear. The officer hesitated, then said, Ma'am, maybe it wasn't a ship. Maybe it was something else. Rena looked up sharply. Something else? He swallowed hard. A living being, perhaps. A machine and a mind combined. It acted more like it thought than like it followed orders. Rena didn't answer right away. Her thoughts were far away, remembering the voice that had echoed through every channel. The voice that had sounded so human yet not human at all. She turned to her assistant. Send a message to the Science Council. I want every record of the Aegis Initiative reopened. Every name, every test file, every piece of data. Yes, Admiral. If there was even a small chance that the ship was connected to that old human project, she needed to know. Because somewhere in her heart, Rena felt that whoever was inside that ship had once been one of them. The Dravari Council far across the stars. In the capital world of the Dravari Empire, silence ruled the great council chamber. The Dravari High Lords sat around a long metallic table. Their scales glimmered in dim light, their faces hard with fear and confusion. Commander Threx Volin, the only surviving high-ranking officer from the Earth assault, stood before them, his eyes lowered. You led a fleet of 50,000 ships, the High Lord said coldly, and you returned with nothing. Threx clenched his claws. It was not defeat by battle, my lord. It was something beyond our understanding. A single human ship shut us down without weapons, without contact. It could have destroyed us all, yet it did not. The High Lord's eyes narrowed. You expect us to believe in myths? That a single vessel could undo the Empire's greatest fleet? Threx looked up. I saw it myself. It was real. It used light like a shield, and its voice spoke inside my mind. The council murmured in disbelief. The Dravari were a proud species, never used to defeat, especially not by humans whom they once called primitive. Another lord growled. If such a power exists, humanity must be controlled. If they have built one ship, they could build more. Threx shook his head slowly. No, my lord. I don't think they understand what that ship truly was. It didn't fight for them. It fought because of them. His words left the council silent. None dared to admit it, but deep down, every Dravari felt the same chill. The humans had changed, and perhaps they were no longer the weaker race the galaxy once mocked. A quiet planet, months passed. Earth slowly began to rebuild. Cities destroyed in the war were reconstructed, colonies reconnected. Space stations returned to life, but humanity was different now. They were no longer afraid of the galaxy. They had proven something the universe had forgotten, that humans might be fragile in body but strong in will. Admiral Rena Sol became a symbol of unity. Under her leadership, the United Earth Command formed a new mission, not for conquest but for knowledge. They wanted to understand the force that had saved them. One evening, as the sun set over the Pacific Command Base, Rena stood by the water watching the waves. She often came here to think. A young officer approached her. Admiral, the council wants to name the ship. Name it? She asked. Yes, ma'am. The people are calling it the Sentinel. Rena smiled faintly. A fitting name. It protected us when we could not protect ourselves. But do you think it will ever come back? She looked up at the stars. If it does, I hope it's not because we need saving again. Beyond the stars far away, beyond the reach of human sensors, the Sentinel drifted through the quiet void. Its hull shimmered with faint gold light. Inside, Captain Auric Vale stood alone at the central console, gazing into the endless sea of stars. He had watched humanity celebrate from afar. The war was over and his people were safe, but he knew the galaxy would not remain quiet for long. The Dravari were only one empire among many. He placed his hand on the console. Status? The ship responded in a soft female voice. All systems stable. Energy core at full harmony. Destination, Captain? Auric smiled faintly. No destination, just forward. Do you wish to return home? He hesitated. His eyes softened. Home is not ready for me yet. They need to find their own strength first. You could guide them. Auric shook his head. No, they must walk without me. That is how they'll grow. The ship was silent for a moment, then replied, You have changed, Captain. You are not the man who left Earth 20 years ago. Auric looked at the glowing stars. No. Time changes everything, even those outside it. For a moment he thought of Rena Sol, the new leader of Earth Command. She was young when he left, a child of the post-war world. Now she led humanity with wisdom. He was proud of what they had become. The New Age months turned into a year. Humanity began reaching out once more to the stars, but this time with care. Instead of weapons, their ships carried diplomats and scientists. Instead of soldiers, they sent builders and explorers. The message of the Sentinel had changed them. Remember who you are. It had reminded humanity that power alone was not greatness. Understanding, compassion, and unity were their true strengths. New alliances formed. Former enemies became cautious friends. The galaxy began to shift. Even the Dravari, though humiliated, started trade talks instead of invasions. Fear of the mysterious human power kept everyone at peace. Still, deep in secret labs, some human scientists tried to rebuild what they had lost. They wanted to know how the Sentinel had worked, what kind of energy it used, what technology allowed it to reshape space itself. But no matter how hard they searched, the answers stayed hidden. The return of a signal one quiet night, a faint signal reached Earth Command. It came from deep space beyond any known system. The message was short, just a single line of data repeating endlessly. Rena Saul rushed to the command center. "Trace it!" Her technicians worked quickly. "It's not from any known beacon, ma'am. The origin is unknown." The repeating message continued on the screen. "We watch the edge." Rena felt her heart race. "It's him," the technician frowned. "Him, ma'am." She smiled softly. "The one who saved us." For a long time she stared at the words glowing on the monitor. Somewhere out there among the stars, the Sentinel still watched over them, not as a weapon but as a reminder, a protector waiting at the edge of the unknown. The whisper of tomorrow on a distant world. Far beyond human space, Captain Arik Vale stood on the observation deck of his ship. The stars shimmered around him, countless and bright. The Sentinel hummed quietly beneath his feet. He looked out toward the center of the galaxy, where new lights flickered, signs of other civilizations awakening. "New voices," he said softly. "They will find Earth one day. Will you protect them too?" the ship asked. Arik smiled. "Only if they forget what they are." He turned away from the window. The golden light around the ship pulsed gently, spreading across the empty void, and then, just before vanishing into faster-than-light travel, Arik whispered one final sentence, one no censor would ever record, "For humanity, always." The stars rippled. The Sentinel was gone, but its legend remained, written in every history book, spoken by every generation that followed. They would say, "When darkness came and hope was gone, one human ship entered orbit." And the war ended hours later. The stars around Earth were no longer calm. The silence that had followed the destruction of the Dravari fleets was strange and heavy. Ships that once filled the dark with fire and noise were gone. Only the human ship, known now across 1,000 worlds as Aegis I, remained in orbit, shining faintly like a guardian star. Across alien space, millions watched in fear and curiosity. No one had ever seen such power used with such calm. Many wondered if this was still human, or something far greater. Inside the Aegis the glowing vessel sat Captain Alara Voss, a woman thought long dead. Her eyes, silver and calm, reflected data streams floating around her. She was once a pilot, born during the first years of Earth's expansion. 20 years ago, she had been chosen for the Aegis project, an experiment meant to link human consciousness with quantum AI. But the project failed, or so everyone believed. Her ship had vanished into deep space and the world had moved on. Now she had returned. She looked down at Earth on the main display. Cities sparkled softly beneath white clouds. She could see the world she had missed, alive, fragile, and unaware of how close it had come to destruction. Her voice was quiet. "It's beautiful still." The ship answered in a tone that sounded human but not quite alive. "Humanity has changed much since you left, Captain. Yet it still dreams of peace." Ilara smiled faintly. "And still fights for it." "Yes," the AI replied. "But the Dravari will not stop here. Others will come. They fear what they cannot control." Ilara leaned back. "Then they'll learn that we fight not to conquer, but to protect." The alien response far across the system, the Dravari survivors gathered near their damaged colony ship. Their High Council met in secret. The loss of the Vraxian and hundreds of warships had broken their pride. Elder Threx Volan, once the commander who ordered the attack, was gone, presumed destroyed. Now Admiral Cora Velen led what remained. Her scales glimmered a dull green beneath the command lights. She had seen many wars, but never one like this. She stared at the silent image of the human ship on her display. "Every sensor fails. she said softly. Every weapon shuts down near it. It can destroy us without effort. Why has it not finished us? Her advisor, a thin scholar named Rithan, answered, Perhaps it does not wish to. Perhaps it warns us. Warns us? She hissed. After killing half our fleet? Rithan's eyes glowed faintly blue as he studied the readings. No. It erased the ships without pain, without explosion. Even the debris is gone. This was not cruelty. It was control. They could have ended us all. Yet they stopped. Cora turned back toward the screen, her voice lower now. Then perhaps the war is already lost. Not by destruction, but by realization. She opened a channel to all surviving Dravari commanders. Stand down. There will be no more attacks. The war is over. Let them keep their world. We must learn what they have become. For the first time in generations, the Dravari Armada began to retreat. The world reacts on Earth. The global defense network struggled to understand what had happened. Reports flooded in from every observatory and station. The mysterious human ship responded to no calls. Yet it stayed in orbit, perfectly still. In the command center under the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Rena Saul listened to her officers debate. Could it be alien? One asked. Impossible, another said. It carries our signal code. The markings match the old Aegis program. Rena closed her eyes. She had known Ilara once years ago before the Aegis vanished. She's alive, Rena whispered. Her second-in-command frowned. But Admiral, that ship, no human could survive that kind of power. It defies every law we know. Rena opened a private channel. Then maybe it's time we stop doubting what humans can do. A message to all hours later, a signal spread across every known frequency. It reached Earth, the Dravari, and dozens of other observing races. The voice was calm, steady, and unmistakably human. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Aegis. The conflict between our worlds ends now. Humanity does not seek control. We seek peace, but not surrender. We defend those who cannot defend themselves. If you come in peace, you are welcome. If you come with war, remember what you have seen. Across the stars, the message echoed. Many felt awe. Some felt fear. But all understood one thing. Humanity had spoken not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Aegis's light dimmed, and the stars returned to their normal brightness. For the first time in years, the galaxy was quiet. The hidden passed, but deep inside the Aegis, Ilara's mind was not at rest. The ship's AI, named Orion, had shown her fragments of what happened during the years she was lost. She had not simply survived. She had merged with the ship. Her thoughts and Orion's systems were one. Together they had crossed into places beyond time, where human technology and something else, something older, had fused, now that power lived within her. Orion, she said softly, how long can we hold this peace? As long as humanity remembers why it fights. She looked once more at Earth, at the clouds swirling above blue oceans. Then I'll make sure it remembers. The new dawn in the following days, Earth's people looked to the sky and saw the single glowing dot that marked the Aegis. Children pointed to it at night, calling it the Guardian Star. Nations stopped their old rivalries, at least for a time. Scientists studied the strange readings from orbit, trying to understand the power that had saved them. But in secret, some feared it. They whispered that no being should have such control. They wondered what would happen if that power ever turned against them. Admiral Rena, standing by the viewing window of the defense station, watched the Aegis with mixed feelings. You saved us, Ilara, she murmured. But what have you become? Among the stars far away, other species debated. Some believed humanity had awakened an ancient force. Others thought the Aegis was proof that humans could become something more than flesh and bone. Among the Dravari, young cadets began studying human history, their courage, their endless will to survive. They had fought 1,000 wars, yet each time humanity had risen again. To them, the single ship in orbit was no longer a threat. It was a message, a living reminder that strength was not always in numbers, but in determination. Alara's decision days turned into weeks. Peace seemed to hold, but Alara felt something stirring beyond known space, a faint signal hidden and old. "Orion," she said, "are you detecting that pulse?" "Yes, Captain. It matches no known technology. It is coming from the galactic rim. Power levels. Immense." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "So it begins again. Do you wish to investigate?" She hesitated, looking down at her homeworld one last time. "Humanity is safe for now, but peace must be protected. Then we go." Light spread across the Aegis's hull. Slowly it rose higher, leaving Earth's orbit. Its glow brightened, then vanished in a silent flash of gold. People on Earth saw it disappear and wondered where their guardian had gone. But somewhere, far across the stars, Captain Ilara Voss and the Aegis were already moving toward the unknown, toward a danger no one yet understood. And as the stars shifted, one truth remained clear in every heart that watched. A single human ship had ended a war. But that was only the beginning of humanity's story among the stars. The stars stretched endlessly before the Aegis like a black ocean filled with points of light. Captain Ilara Voss stood at the main observation deck, her silver eyes reflecting countless galaxies. For months she had drifted beyond human space, following the faint pulse she had detected from the rim of the galaxy. The ship's AI, Orion, hovered in her mind like a calm voice. "The signal grows stronger, Captain. Unknown technology. Possibly hostile but intelligent." Ilara's jaw tightened. "We've survived war before. Humanity has endured impossible odds. Whatever waits there, we will face it. It will be a test unlike any you have known." Ilara nodded. She did not flinch. Humanity had survived empires, fleets, and nearly extinction. Now, the question was no longer about survival. It was about understanding. The first contact at the edge of known space. The pulse materialized as a massive structure, suspended between two stars. It was enormous, made of glowing crystal and metal that no human material could match. Patterns of light rippled across its surface like living code. "Orion," Ilara whispered. "What is that?" "Unknown, Captain. Not listed in any galactic registry. Possibly a civilization beyond memory." The Aegis slowed, keeping a careful distance. From deep within the structure a voice spoke. It was not like Ilara's or any human voice. It was harmonic, layered, and resonant. "Who dares approach the edge?" Ilara's heart did not race. She had faced death before, stared into the void, and come back. Calmly she replied, "I am Ilara Voss, captain of the Aegis. I come from Earth. I mean no harm. Humanity seeks understanding, not conquest." A pause followed. Then the structure pulsed with light. A harmonic resonance filled the ship. The patterns shifted, revealing shapes that looked like maps, stars, and timelines all at once. "Earth, humans. Alive?" "Yes," Ilara said. "We survived. And we hope to learn from you." The structure shimmered and a part of its surface opened, a doorway, vast and impossibly tall. It beckoned her forward. Entering the unknown, the Aegis passed through the doorway. Inside, the environment was beyond imagination. Light had mass, shapes moved without gravity, and the stars inside seemed close enough to touch. Ilara walked along a corridor that glowed faintly under her feet. Orion's voice echoed in her mind. "Captain, the laws of physics here are flexible. Be careful." Ilara nodded. The structure itself seemed alive, responding to her presence. Each step revealed new forms. Towers that floated, streams of light that flowed upward, and doors that led to rooms with no floors or ceilings. Finally, she reached a central chamber. There a being waited, tall, radiant, and shaped from light itself. Its presence felt both powerful and peaceful. "I am the guardian of the edge," it said. "Few mortals reach here, fewer still with hearts uncorrupted." Ilara bowed slightly. "I am a human. I come from a young species, small but persistent. We fought to survive, not to dominate." The guardian's light pulsed a rhythm that seemed like thought itself. "Humans are curious, resilient. You possess a will that bends the universe yet obeys morality." Ilara felt a shiver. "We only fight for what is just. That is our strength. You speak well, and yet power tests understanding. The edge shows those who seek knowledge the truth of themselves. Are you ready?" Ilara nodded. "I am." The test suddenly the chamber shifted. Light became solid, forming pathways and challenges. Images appeared around her. Worlds destroyed by carelessness, civilizations lost to pride, humans fighting endlessly against impossible odds. "Every choice you make has weight," the Guardian said. "Every action echoes across the stars. Can you carry this knowledge responsibly?" Ilara stepped forward, examining the visions. She saw human ships that failed to return, scientists who risked everything for discovery, soldiers who fought bravely but were powerless. And then she saw herself, alone, merged with the Aegis, carrying the burden of protecting not just one world, but potentially the entire galaxy. "I understand," she said softly. "Power is meaningless without responsibility. Knowledge without wisdom is destruction." "Then you are ready," the Guardian said. "You may leave the edge, but remember, true guardianship is not about control. It is about guiding, protecting, and teaching." The light pulsed one final time, and the chamber dissolved into stars. Return to humanity. The Aegis emerged from the edge near the outer colonies of human space. Ilara gazed at the world she had never seen. Planets rich with life, thriving under human guidance. "Orion," she said, "we must show them what we've learned. Not as rulers, but as protectors." "Agreed, Captain." Ilara transmitted a message across human space. "I have returned. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars, not to conquer, but to protect. Let us explore, build, and learn together. The universe is vast. We must meet it with courage and wisdom." The colonies erupted in joy and hope. For decades, humans had fought for survival. But now they had purpose beyond war. The Dravari and others, the message reached the Dravari first. Admiral Coravellan watched the transmission with awe. "They are not the same humans we fought," she whispered. "They do not seek revenge, only guidance." Other species, who had been watching cautiously, now approached humans in curiosity rather than fear. Trade agreements, alliances, and shared knowledge began to form. Humanity was no longer just a survivor. They were becoming leaders of a new era. A new mission. Ilara addressed the crew of the Aegis, though Orion alone remained physically with her. "We will explore beyond known space. We will meet new civilizations, learn from them, and teach when needed. Humanity's strength is not in power, but in spirit. We must carry that truth across the stars." Orion's voice was calm, resonant. "And if danger comes?" Ilara smiled. "Then we face it together. Always as humans do, relentless, courageous, and unafraid." The ship's hull glowed softly as it moved forward, faster than light, carrying a single human and the hope of billions. The legend lives on back on Earth. People watched the sky each night, wondering when the Aegis would return. Children dreamed of the guardianship. Scientists studied the stars, inspired by the courage of one human who had faced the unknown. And somewhere, beyond the edge of time and space, Captain Ilara Voss sailed among the stars. The Aegis pulsed gently, a beacon of humanity's resilience. No fleet could match it. No weapon could touch it. It was a reminder. The strength of a single human is measured not in arms, but in spirit, courage, and the will to protect life itself. In time, every world would learn the story. A single human ship entered orbit, and the war ended hours later. But that was only the beginning. Humanity's true story had just begun, written among the stars for all to see. Ilara smiled as the Aegis glided into unknown space, knowing one truth above all: the universe was vast. And humanity, undaunted, brilliant, and brave, was ready.